Hello, magical people. My name is Lou, and I would like to welcome you back to my channel. Today, I am going to be offering for you a reading, pick a card style, with regards to messages coming through from this full moon, which is also a lunar eclipse. So, I'm not an astrologer, first and foremost. I'd like to get that disclaimer out there. However, there's a lot of big energies moving, and I took some notes here just about some different themes that are going to be coming up. So first, let's take a look at the overview. We just recently had Beltane, so we are just past the midway point between the spring equinox and the summer solstice. We have this lunar eclipse happening. This is also the flower full moon that's occurring, and it's a full moon in Scorpio. And of course, our sun sign is opposed to that in Taurus. So there's not only a lot of energy, but there's it's energy that is maybe stirring up some mud. So let's see what we've got here. We've got this turning up of the muck. We've got this as an opportunity to bring shadow aspects from the repressed depths out into the light of the moon. This is an opportunity for healing. Let's see what else. Let's see. Oh, this is something that can be happening both on the personal level as well as on the collective level. So there's some intensity going on, and we may see some ugliness show up that needs to show up so that we can learn from it and heal it. Let's see. This is an opportunity for us to look at how toxicity shows up for us. How, based on our previous experiences and interactions, that other people's stories or narratives about us might have gotten stuck kind of in our astral or etheric body. I'm not really super versed on the correct terminology here, but how those stories we have taken on as being our own in some way, even though that is not true. And it's actually kind of putting us in a place where we aren't able to fully connect with our own energy because those stories, that energy that isn't ours, is kind of interfering with that sort of internal communication. Let's see. This may bring up some emotional clutter, and we are being asked to step back into our own center and into our own power. So, there's this, the energy of Scorpio pulling up this desire for transformation and intimacy and connection, while at the same time we've got the energy of Taurus, very earthy energy, asking us to be more slower moving, more intentional, more hermity, so to speak. So it's if one is inclined to pay attention to these things, you might notice that there's that sort of that energy coming up. Maybe there have been some things that have come up for you in the last week or so, or that will come up in the next week or so, that will bring clarity to something about that's just not working for you or hasn't worked for you and is ready to be released, ready to be moved on from. So anyways, that's the sort of general theme. Oh, damn it, I forgot to say, and I even wrote it down in my notes. Before I dove into this sort of overarching summary, I'd also wanted to say, please like and subscribe if you like and would like to subscribe. That would be terrific and incredibly helpful. And also, I wanted to let you know that I do offer private readings. The information will be in the description box below. And okay, so getting back to this. So this is going to be a reading in 3 parts, and these are going to be just general messages or advice that your guides would like to bring to your attention at this time. And for the sake of simplicity, we're just going to have reading 1, reading 2, and reading 3, because there's no need to add any additional clutter at this time when clutter might be coming up for us. So having said that, I am going to dive right in. All of the decks have been shuffled, but I haven't selected any of the cards yet. So I'm going to be taking a few cards from a few different tarot decks, and also a couple different tarot decks and a few different oracle decks. A story that I wanted to tell before I dove into the readings is that with regards to bringing personal shadows into the light so they can be acknowledged and healed, I wanted to share a somewhat recent experience that I had where over the winter, the energy of depression was more than I could ignore. And in one of my therapy sessions, one of the parts that came up was a real self-hating part. It's a very vicious, mean, self-hating part that just came right up. And once I acknowledged that that part was there and gave it name, that seemed to be a big part of the healing in itself. And I won't say that part will ever go away or has gone away completely. Maybe someday it will, or maybe it will transform into a more helpful iteration of itself. But what it certainly did is it disarmed that part and also made it easier for me to differentiate from that part when it showed up. So instead of feeling a place of self-hatred, I was able to recognize that the self-hating part had showed up, but that is not me and my experience in its entirety, which I found very helpful. So group one, I guess this is you. We're getting ready to get started. So group one, let's see if we can get a couple of cards from this deck, please. And the first one to come out is the Hierophant. Okay. And we also have the Eight of Pentacles. Interesting. Actually, I'm going to pull an oracle card in between. We've got 3 oracle decks. This one is the Moonology deck. Interesting, and we have a new romantic cycle begins. New moon in Libra. Interesting. So there's a bringing of balance of something. And, this new romantic cycle, if you are, there's so many ways that could show up. So this could be just a new cycle within a larger cycle, or it could be an entirely new cycle. I'm feeling with the Hierophant, there is an invitation to, and with the Eight of Pentacles, feeling like the first message that's coming through for you, group one, is that there's an invitation for you to cut out the middleman and do the work and put in the time and the effort and the energy into getting your own answers. Oh, and I just got full body goosebumps. So that's a pretty powerful message. There's maybe the clutter that is showing up for you, group one, is a clutter that pertains to the influence that others have over you and the way that you think and what you think about. And so there's an invitation here to, again, Pentacles being very earthy energy, kind of supporting that Taurus energy that we're in right now with the sun sign. There's this effort to ground your efforts in actual behavior and in ways that are not just in the way that you think about things or the way that you feel about things. This is asking for an actual grounded change to occur or work to be done, grounded work. So maybe, there's just literally bazillions of ways that this could come up, but the first real easy go-to, as it so often is meditation. So maybe if you find yourself in a place where, lots of people's opinions about a particular thing are impacting you, then this is an invitation to quiet your mind, recognize all of those other different energies that are in your space and impacting your space, and try and see through that and center yourself in what your own actual answers are. So let's see what else we have come out here. We have the Four of Cups. Okay, so like there's, with regards to these answers that you are seeking, I feel like maybe they're already right there in your space. It's just a matter of kind of looking in the other direction. And with that new romantic cycle beginning, it's possible for some of you that this is an opportunity that's already showing up for you to just seize in terms of that romantic cycle. So, I feel like for some of you, this is going to be a romantic cycle with an exterior person, but I also feel like this is just the energy of romance, the energy of falling for something. So that could certainly show up as being way more abstract as well. It could be that you will discover that you have a really satisfying sense of enjoyment from engaging in a new activity that you've never engaged in, or a new pursuit or project will show up that will allow you to open your heart space. Because I really feel like that's more what it's about. It's for some of you, it may show up as being a romantic thing, but I feel like in general, it's more the energy of a new opportunity arising for you to open your heart space. And that by doing that is part of doing that work to finding your own answers, because the sort of more our heart space is open and the more we are aware of the things that resonate for us in our heart space, then the more clear our own answers become to us. I hope that makes sense. Makes somehow perfect sense to me, and I'm hoping it will to somebody else as well. All right, so let's see. We also have the King of Wands. So yeah, for, there is this energy of inspiration and leveling up and having an ingrained wisdom with the way about the way you're lighting your way forward. Like, even though it's Wands energy, which is, fire, the element of fire, it does also feel like there's just so much earthiness coming through in this particular depiction of the King of Wands. All right, let's pull it seemed appropriate to pull out the Hummingbird Oracle. So let's see what message would like to come through this deck from you guys. Group 1. And we have, Spirit is singing sweet words of wisdom. Be still and listen. And so, yeah, for some of you, again, whether this shows up as meditation or contemplation or engaging in an activity mindfully, there is a call for stilling, bringing an intention to stilling the energy that is in your space, which does allow you to have a little bit more discernment about how you're being impacted by other energies, which then allows you to differentiate from them and get in touch more with your own energy. So let's see here. We have one final card for you, Group 1, and this is the Animal Oracle. And we have here the Dolphin Spirit. This and that are true. That is wonderful. And I feel like also one of the energies that dolphins often bring to situations is an energy of playfulness. So I feel like for some of you, maybe this was feeling like your guides were trying to give you too much homework, or maybe there was a part of you that showed up as a response to this message with kind of like an eye roll in a way of like, I don't want to sit still. There's so much going on, or something like that. But, you know, let that resistant part of yourself know that while this is doing the work, so to speak, that doesn't mean that it is lacking in the energy of play. And being in a place of feeling playful, however that shows up for us. And for me personally, I think the energy of playfulness outwardly is a bit more subtle than I experience it internally, which is one of the things I love about YouTube, is it allows me to get some of that internal playfulness out a little bit easier than I otherwise can. So, it's like, don't let the part of yourself that is resistant to doing the work scare you away from actually doing the work, because the work itself, the energy, the work of opening your heart space and finding your own truth and allowing yourself to see what is just out of your periphery, can be a lot of fun, and it can be a really joyful journey. The journey back to ourselves is full of joy. And so just let that resistant part of yourself, if there is one showing up, know that even though this is work, it's also going to be a lot of fun. So group one, I hope you found this helpful, and I would love to hear how this energy is hitting you. Don't forget to be kind and gentle with yourselves as always, and till next time, take care. Welcome group 2. This is your reading, and we're going to pull cards from a couple of different decks, a couple of different tarot decks, and a few different oracle decks, and we will just see what messages your guides would like to offer you. The first card that came out is the Knight of Swords. So it feels like things have been moving very fast lately, and that there's been a lot of energy going on. And we also have, interesting. We also have the Eight of Pentacles, which is the same card that showed up in the same position in reading 1. That's so funny, because when I pulled out the Knight of Swords and just saw all of that like swiftly moving energy, I kind of had the thought in my mind, like, oh, time to slow down and see what's going on around us. And the Eight of Pentacles, much like I was saying in the reading for group 1, is that energy of putting in the work and slowing down and changing our the way that we do things, or not necessarily changing the way that we do things. Let me rephrase that. It's more about doing things with the way that we show up, rather than just with the way that we think about things, or having an observance of the way that we feel about things. It's like taking that information and doing something with it. So it is interesting here that the Knight of Swords energy is, there's just so much swiftness to it. So let's see what comes out with the next cards. Oh, it is funny. I don't know if I ever noticed this, but there's that one little yellow bird on the back. Like, everybody else is like moving super fast, and then there's the bird sitting on the butt, just like kind of watching it happen. So maybe there's one of the messages coming through from this is that even though everything is moving very fast around you, just kind of like, rather than being at the forefront of what is occurring, more taking a retiring pose allows an opportunity to more fully assess a situation, which may be called for at this time. Let's see what else we have here. For a moon card, we have meditate and contemplate. New moon in Pisces. It was a new moon card that came up for reading as well, reading 1 as well, although it was a different moon card. But yeah, there's an invitation to slow it down and be more in a place of observing it rather than being in it, which allows greater clarity about what you should do, or what you could be doing, or doing things. All right, let's pull another tarot card from the crow deck here. Ooh, we have the Emperor. So there's also a call for boundary work and for being in that place where we are first and foremost the best steward for ourselves. Because, the Emperor is a ruler. And who are we actually the rulers over, ideally, in this world is our own selves, our own sense of sovereignty. And so, maybe this is an opportunity to look at relationships that we have either internally or externally that could maybe use a little more clarity with regards to boundaries, which also makes me wonder. So back to this Knight of Swords card, we have not only is there 3 out of 4 primary beings on this card are all moving and responding and reacting to stimulus, but there are also 4 specific and different kinds of things, which makes me wonder if there is a situation where there's a lot of different, perhaps chaotic energy that is showing up in your space that isn't even yours, but that regardless still has an impact on your environs. And then we also have the 4 of Cups. Interesting. That card also came out in reading 1. And what's interesting is I didn't even realize that I was doing it. Last time reading 1, the second set of cards pulled from this deck, but this time I just for some reason picked up the crow deck again. So even though it looks different, it's the same card that showed up. And so there's this energy of like not seeing something that is in your space and sort of more like apathetic, not picking up on something that is already there for you to see. And it's something that it's like a gift from the universe. It's that Ace of Cups energy, that emotional, that potential and that opportunity for emotional fulfillment. And group 2, I really feel like this is talking about you. Like this 4 of Cups, this cup that you're not seeing is actually you. All right, let's pull one from this deck as well, and then pull the next oracle card. We have the 8 of Cups. Yeah, I feel like group 2, for some of you, one of the themes that may be coming up for you at this time during this flower full moon and full moon eclipse and all of the things. And it's also 5/5. I forgot about 5/5 too. But anyways, one of the themes that might be coming up for you is just an awareness that there is a lot of energy in your space and that sometimes the energy that you have a harder time connecting with is your own. And, your guides are drawing your attention to the notion of boundaries. And so if that resonates for you, then there's a ton of information out there about different practices and noticings that one can take to actually bring that awareness of boundaries and reshaping of boundaries, if that is indeed called for, into real life. So, YouTube has all sorts of information on there, and I strongly encourage you to do some work around that. And if it's something you've even wondered about, then it's certainly worth looking into what are boundaries, what are healthy boundaries, what are boundaries that sometimes get confused as being healthy. Because I feel like for some of you, there may be some codependent stuff coming up here too, which it's just an invitation to walk away and leave behind what doesn't serve us so that we can find our own new horizon. All right, so now let's do a this is a hummingbird oracle card for group 2. And we have cleanse your dusty wings so you can fly more freely. And I think that is perfect. It is also called bird bath. So, yeah, absolutely. Oh, and also, with this new moon in Pisces, which Pisces being a water sign, maybe some of you do find water. I mean, water is like literally cleansing, of course. I think it's the universal detergent or something like that. Don't quote me. I feel like that comes from the Wayback Machine. It may not be accurate, but anyhow, nobody can deny that literally water is cleansing. But also, we can use that to symbolically use ourselves to cleanse our own energy. I mean, religions do all the time. The first one that's easy to sort of baptism is the first one that comes to mind. Is there's that notion of cleansing and the energy of, well, in that case, God, or whatever. I'm no expert, but regardless, we can use the energy of water to not only just cleanse ourselves physically and literally, but also energetically. And that, even though, I don't know, I feel like cutting cords and doing like some work around cutting cords is coming up. So let's pull one more animal card for your group 2. Oh, and 2 popped out. So we have Otter Spirit. You are never alone. We all have our guides that are available to us anytime we'd like to reach out to when we need support. Of course, many of us also are fortunate to have actual communities of humans that we can reach out to for support. So it's important to keep that in mind as we, especially if we're doing boundaries work, it's important to remember that you need to have people in your life that you can practice the boundaries with. So people are important. Never, even if one has, past woundings that have occurred because of boundaries, that doesn't mean that you are destined for a life of isolation, because you are not, my friend. You are not. We also have Stag Spirit, take the lead. And so for some of you, there's this energy of acknowledging that not only are you not alone, but there's an opportunity to take the lead in the sense of community. And that can be an healing in and of itself. When one is a leader, one of the energies of leadership is being embodied and having an understanding of who oneself is. Good leadership, let's say, an element of good leadership, because there are plenty of leaders out there of all kinds that are not so good. But the pure energy of leadership, I believe, does certainly embody one's having an understanding of where one is, so that then one can be responsible in the way that one behaves. So anyhow, group 2, I hope you found this helpful, and please don't forget to be kind and gentle with yourselves. Until next time, I will see you soon. All right, group 3, let's see what messages want to come through to you from your guides and team at this time during the full moon, the flower moon, the lunar eclipse, and 5-5. Ooh, the first one that comes out is the moon. Okay, so there's and temperance. Oh, group 3. First of all, can I just, I love this deck so much. How do we do this? I love this deck so much. It's just so beautiful. Look at that, though. Okay, first of all, 2 major arcana. I would imagine perhaps you are really feeling the energy from all of the things going on right now. And so the moon, of course, it's that energy of not quite knowing, not having clarity. It's that tuning into our sense of intuition, which, intuition is not clear and linear, like, say, math, for example. Like, there's no way to get 2 + 2 = 4. Something so linear out of intuition, unless we're really able to be open to it and allow our other influences as well as our own sort of thinking mind to sort of take a step away. Like, intuition isn't often something that can be easily explained. So it's got a, I'm not sure if this is a correct word, but it's got a sense of Mercury to it. It's mercurial, you know? So it moves and it's hard to pin down, you know, but there's this opportunity for alchemy to occur from allowing one to be in that place of not knowing and yet still showing up and still acting on the intuitive knowledge that you're receiving. So I guess to boil it down, like, there's a really big invitation for you to trust yourself. So maybe those are some of the themes that are coming up for you during this time, is different, because, you know, like I said, this is all maybe stirring up the muck. And so, you know, maybe for you, some of the stories of, and, you know, different past times when you feel as though you judge past aspects of yourself or past things that you did sort of through the lens of not being able to trust yourself now because of what occurred then. I feel like that's a pretty common thing that comes up for a lot of people is, well, I just learned that I just can't trust myself. That's the kind of internal narrative that I really feel is coming up here. And I feel like there's a really big opportunity to bring that out to the light of the full moon to allow that alchemical healing to sort of start to happen. So let's see, we're going to start off by pulling a moon oracle. And we've got 3 different oracle cards that we're going to be pulling for you today, group 3. But let's start off with the moon. Oh, that one is, all right. And we have full moon in Virgo. You are good enough. Oh, group 3. I feel like maybe you've really been through it, or something is dredging up something that you've really been through in the past. And I'm really glad this card came out, because I think it's a card that often we need to hear much more often than we get to have the opportunity to hear it. And that is that you are good enough. You are good enough to deserve healing, and you are good enough to deserve to trust yourself, and you deserve good things in life to happen for you and with you and to you. All right, let's pull a couple of more tarot cards here for you, group 3. See if we can get some more messages to come through from your guides. For some reason, like, the idea of artwork, and particularly like fractal artwork or fractals and or artwork, are kind of coming up. So maybe those are things that you would find, I don't know, maybe some art therapy would be helpful for you in some way. We also have the 10 of Pentacles. So I feel like there's a reminder here to sort of recognize that even though things may feel very intense and it may feel like you don't have a reason to trust yourself, there are lots of good things that are showing up around you in your actual world that are a result of your own prior actions. And so there's kind of an invitation here to sort of like, here's real actual evidence to of your own historical past or situation to shore up the ways in which you can trust yourself. Because I feel like it's maybe one of those things where, like, you can have, I don't know, a month worth of mornings that go relatively smoothly with no major disasters of any kind. And then you have one where things just go awry. And that's the one that you remember. So even though the empiric data implies that most mornings are drama free or disaster free at the very least, that doesn't mean that what gets written in is the one that goes really horribly wrong. And I think that's the case. It shows up in a ton of different ways. So, you know, there's this like, I don't know, pardon my language, but like there's this energy of like, you know what it is? It's a little bit of judgment showing up. Like there is that energy of feeling it like there's the don't trust yourself part, but then there's also the don't deserve to be a person who trusts themselves part. So there's not only the judgment showing up, but there's kind of the judgment of the judgment showing up. So again, I just would like to reiterate, group 3, that you are in fact good enough. All right, and let's pull another tarot card. And we have the Chariot. Yeah, right? Like the Chariot has returned victorious. You know, they are moving forward from a place of having done the work, put in the battle, and now they are in a place where they have a balance showing up. You know, those two horses, the light, the dark, are showing up. And I don't mean light, dark, like good and bad. I mean just the binary of energies, both showing up to carry that chariot forward on kind of like there's this moving forward with having clarity, having more clarity over the environment because of the experiences that you've had that have led you up to that moment. Because of course, the chariot being, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I forgot to turn off my notifications. The energy of being, of moving forward, the energy of moving forward, of course, implies that there is a place from which you are moving forward from. All right, so let's pull a hummingbird card. And we have Powerful Warrior. Do not feel small. You are stronger, braver, and more valued than you know. It's time into your true source of power. So yeah, there's a really huge opportunity here for you, group 3. And I'm going to pull one more animal oracle card, but I feel like group 3, there's a really huge opportunity here for you to, like I said, it's sort of at the intro, like this is the invitation as a whole, on a whole, is for us to step closer to being into our own sense of power. And your guides are just really wanting to show up and support you in that endeavor because you are worthy of being in a place of being centered in your own true sense of self and your true sense of power. And there's just like, I don't know, I just keep getting this energy of like being cheered on. Amazing. Full body goosebumps. The card that comes out is White Raven Spirit. Trust in the magic. So as you look around you and in opposition to that internal language of not being good enough and not being able to trust yourself and things like that, when you are looking around you and taking note of all of the goodness that there is around you in whatever ways that shows up, and it's going to be different for everybody, recognize that all of those good things were able to show up even with this negative programming of not trusting the self. And that's the magic right there. So just keep trusting in your ability to achieve and accumulate good things that feel good and cozy and homey to you, to the greater, it's like there's a building momentum that I'm really feeling, is that like this moment of an opportunity of healing is like opening the door to an acceleration of more of your energy being able to get in. You know, it's more, again, that like being embodied and being centered in yourself and recognizing your own, like, you know, like the hummingbirds, like recognizing your own power and standing within that fully. Group 3, I hope you found this helpful. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Please don't forget to be kind and gentle to yourself. Kind and gentle with yourselves. Let me say that again. Please don't forget, group 3, to be kind and gentle with yourselves. Until next time, see you soon.